It's a nice chilly morning this morning in Adelaide. I just thought I'd jump on and just record something that, given, just what I've been thinking about the last couple of days. There's obviously been a huge event. As you all know, I'm JR Faith Creations, and JR Faith Creations, part of my core is my faith. And that's a faith in Christ, and I'm very happy to proclaim that. But I tell you what, the last 2 years have pushed me to the brink. Questioning that very God I've believed in for 23 years, 25 years now, and that's because life is full of challenges and trials, and inevitably life on this earth that's just what it is. There's a word, a nice big word for you guys out there. It's called malevolence, and essentially malevolence is to summarize that. In this life, you will encounter suffering. In this life, you will encounter trials and tribulations, and you will face sickness, whether that is directly to you or whether that is for people around you. But all of those things that are involved around malevolence they have an impact on our lives, whether it's directly to us or around us or in our communities or things like that, family or whatever. One of the things I've faced recently is that whole walk of Jesus, and the walk of many of the followers of Christ, and pre-Christ even, following Christ is not the easiest life. I can tell you that much, and it's said in the Bible. It's not the easiest. Is it right? Is it the best? Yes, it is the best. It is the best, but is it easy? No. Will it make your life rosy and full of rainbows and all that sort of glorious stuff? There'll be moments, but so is that for everyone. But ultimately, to walk for Him is a walk of the cross. That's where I've come to. I am just in a situation now where it's about His message, and His message only. It's His story. We live in His story, and that is Jesus' story, His story, and that is the center point of all history. And so that story of the cross is incredibly important, and that story of His cross and His resurrection is incredibly important, because it is the thing that brings restoration to the whole world, and it brings restoration to the pain and the suffering. It does bring restoration to the sin and the pain and the evil that we see. Is the cross is the center point of healing. It's interesting I say this, and I haven't recorded something for a while, but it's on the same week as a guy that I definitely respected, because he spoke truth. This is the thing, we live in 90-second sound bites of all this sort of thing. I encourage you, obviously, to go and look at entire clips of debate and things like that, especially you young people, because we clip everything. We turn it into a short show. But the reality is that there's a greater context. There's a massive context to a lot of these clips that people just don't see. And that's what social media is. It's a flooding of a ton of little clips without context. And then we bring our own agendas and our own purposes into this. And even myself, I bring a faith agenda, But what I'm to say is what happened there is a guy that stood for truth. He spoke truth. He was about his faith, his family, his community, and his nation, and in that order. And it comes down to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot love your neighbor unless you love yourself. There's an order in terms of things that happen, and that's loving God, loving yourself, loving your wife or spouse or your partner, and then kids, and so on and so forth. it is a sequential thing. It doesn't go backwards. You know, you get your house right, as Jordan Peterson says, and then things start to bring order into the rest of your life. So yeah, it is essentially, mate. That's the order that this guy Charlie Kirk. Now, I've been following Charlie Kirk for about 2 or 3 years or something like that, and I think it's phenomenal. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Am I in the same level of expertise as him? Absolutely not. Have I have understanding on all of the different areas that he has spoken about? No. So I'm only making a judgment. But what I do understand is that when he does speak, he speaks completely from a place of a foundation of faith. And what tragically happened, talking about malevolence, what tragically happened on the September 10th at a university in front of 3,000 people was absolutely heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because all that those 3,000 people were wanting to do was to see a master orator able to open up conversations of robust debate, something we lack. We pick a side, we go where we want to go, all that sort of stuff. We don't listen to the other side, and therefore we have a problem. So we need to open up robust lines of debate and be in a position where we can talk it out. We can actually, you may not agree at the end of that conversation, and that is totally fine, but it should never lead to a situation where you go beyond talking into violence. Charlie Kirk himself said this in a non-platform scenario, talking to a mother who asked him why he was doing what he was doing at the universities, and he said if we stop talking, we end up in violence. And that's the reality that's happened in America. You might have pinned it on guns, but guess what? The guns don't go off by themselves. They go off by the anger and hatred by a person that's not willing to talk it out, not willing to be in the arena of robust discussion and talking. And that's the thing, that's what happened, and how unfortunate. He put himself out there completely in a t-shirt, prove me wrong, under freedom across his chest, which his own blood ran down that freedom. And he was just wanting to help people, honestly, and help people see truth primarily in faith. Like, that's 90% of where he was at. All the other stuff, that's all periphery type stuff. So an angry young man had got to a point where he couldn't deal with what was going on, and so he took his life. And there's judgment that is coming his way in the form of consequences of those actions, and only time will tell. But that's not what it's about. It's more about the fact that he leaves behind it. He's a father. First off, he's a husband, and then he's a father of two little children. And then he's an integral part. He's a integral part of a family and a community and a church and so on and so forth, an organisation. And that's who he is on the earth. And people have lost that. They've lost the great orator that he was. But we can only hope that his message, because it is the message of the cross, is the one that goes forward, because it has for 2,000 years and continues to this day. And then the other side of it, I guess, is I drew a picture the other day in my journal, and it was him with a microphone and the word "to live is Christ, to die is gain." And that is the other part of the truth of the Christian walk, is that death does not hold us down. Death has been defeated by Christ, and so therefore, we may die in this physical, fleshly sense, but we are risen with Him, and so, Charlie would have walked through those doors and heard, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Yeah, people might to contest that, but that's whatever. We're all entitled to our opinion, just as he spoke, the way he spoke, and he listened to those who he listened to, and he was, he was very, like, in all of this, he was very responsive to the people that he listened to, even in their harsh words and their traps and things that they tried to set up. He was always very respectful, without compromising what he felt was the truth and what I believe is the truth. So, So I just wanted to jump on, and obviously, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy at little old Adelaide, but just wanted to record my thoughts, and I think there's something in this 11 minutes of conversation that I'll put up on my YouTube, and I'll also put up on my Instagram, because I think there's some things to think about. Feel free to question or challenge or talk or send me a message or whatever, but yeah, just my thoughts. And one thing that the moments do is they galvanise what's truly real in our lives, and I guess my own malevolent journey. I'm not a friend of Charlie. He's just someone I see on the internet. Is that I've come through that own malevolent journey with a place where I can't turn away from who Christ is and His message. So do I work out the details of my life? Well, that's a whole journey. I don't know. There's still some questions. I still have questions. That's the thing, mate. Like, we've got to continue to have questions. If we stop having questions, that's not where we want to head. So, and that's what ends us stop talking. So let's keep talking, guys. Keep talking. We went through Are You OK Day this week. That is an opportunity to talk, to get to the bottom of things, to get real with people, and I just encourage you. I know that 12 minutes 47 is a lot to listen to, but if you do have the chance, have a listen to what this is, all the entirety of this chat, and yeah, I hope you have a good day. It's a beautiful day here in Adelaide. The sun is shining, and I'm going to get some waves. All right, see you guys. God bless, and peace be with you. Shalom.